I always wait. Hi, everybody. It's Elena. I always wait for it to flash and say, you're live. But the reality is that it's already been recording. I should just start from the very beginning. There's an article out there called The Millennial Pause, which I don't even want to get into it. In any case, everyone seems to pause before actually speaking into a live camera. And here I am doing the same thing. And I think I'm probably going to keep doing it. Hi, everybody. It's Tuesday. Hi, Emerence and Renee and Brooke and Cheryl and Izzy. Hello. Let's see. Yes, I know it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday and it feels like it's been a whole ass week already. How is that even a thing? But here we are. I'm still a little raspy, but we're here. It's been crazy all week. I know there's a lot of movement, a lot of energy. Izzy says it's been a while since I joined a live session with Elena because of health reasons. I hope you're feeling better. I'm on the other side of the world. It is Wednesday here, 4 a.m. Oh my goodness, I just got off work. Holy cow, Izzy. How exhausted you must be. But hi, welcome back. It's good to see your name pop up again. Dana, hello. Jennifer, hello. Hello. Here we are. This is our Tuesday live where we get together and I do an oracle reading for the community for the week. And then we hang out and we talk about witchcraft. Any questions, things that come up, we'll talk about them. I'm going to open up with a couple of announcements and then I'm going to go into our oracle reading. And then I'm going to share with you my adventures in combining all of my oracle cards in a bowl. For those of you who were here last week, know exactly what I'm talking about. And then we'll just go into our usual awesome chat. Let's see. I think I said hi to Dana already. Welcome. Denise and Dora, hello. Project Refine Life, hi. Crafting My Life. Layla, hello. Okay, let me take a drink because it continues. And then let me say really quickly, we have three announcements. The first one is regarding the September Witches box. I mean, I'm afraid to say this out loud, although I've already said it in the pre-recorded. Before I got on here, I did a recording for the deep dive class that goes along with that box for September. And in it, I made this announcement. And then immediately I was like, oh, but no, we're going to get behind it. We're going to support it. We're going to give it full love and full intention because this is the first box in over a year and a half that's going to go out on time because we have had a new normal on time that was never on time, but it's what it is. I am so excited about that. So the September boxes should be going out or start going out by the end of this week, which is before the end of the month. Holy cow. That's announcement number one. Announcement number two is that, let me look at my calendar before I speak. Yes, tomorrow is the deadline to register for the Healing the Witch Wound virtual retreat, which is happening this weekend. It's Saturday and Sunday. If you can't catch a portion of it or all of it, you will get the recording, so you will have it still. We're talking about the witch wound, a wound that we all carry, because the minute you start to identify as a witch, you then become part of the witch lineage. You don't have to be a witch by blood. We are part of the ancestral line of witches that have been alive and have been roaming the planet since the beginning of time. And there are very real, very specific ancestral, generational, inherited wounds that we carry that mark our soul as witches when we become witches. And so it's important to know what that is. It's important to know how that affects us. It's important to know how to claim and embody your true power despite the generational trauma that we are all still in reaction to. That is what this class is about. It'll be all day Saturday, all day Sunday. We will have breaks. We will have lunch. There will be time to just, integrate. But it'll be a pretty jam-packed Saturday and Sunday. It's happening this weekend. You have one more day, 24. No, it's not true to say 24 hours. So at the end of the 24th, which is tomorrow evening, registration will close. You want to get in on that. I don't have a link for you right now. However, if you go to the website, thewitchesbox.com, the very top underneath our little logo, there are a couple of menu links. One of them will be for Healing the Witch Wound virtual retreat. You want to hit that. You want to go there. You want to register. It's going to be important and amazing. The group that's already gathered for this is just like, mwah. So it's going to be beautiful. So definitely get in on that. That's this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. If you can't be there for a portion of it, you will get a recording of it. So you won't miss anything. And this is definitely one of the ones that is fine and great and just as good on a recording, because this is going to be our third virtual retreat. And I know that the second one, I said, you're going to catch it on the recording and it's going to be great, but it's actually better to be there for the full thing. This is not that. I mean, it'd be great to have you for the full thing because you're going to get community, you're going to get conversation, you're going to get feedback from other people. But if you can't be there for a portion, it's totally cool to just catch it on the replay. So get in on that. It's going to be great. That's announcement number 2. Announcement number 3 is that we have a live retreat coming up in the middle of September, in a month, a little less than a month. This retreat, we have we have 2 spots available left for this live retreat. I'm trying to remember. I'm coming up with like the map of all the beds and the people in my head. We have 2 spots available. It's a queen size bed, single private room. This is going to be an amazing retreat. It's in Temecula, California. It's in Southern California in wine country. We have a beautiful space. If you go to the link for this retreat, you'll see all the pictures at the bottom of that page of where we're going to be staying. We're going to be diving super deep into ancestral work. We're going to be working at creating our own ancestral council that we can go to for work and for guidance and for work and just growth. And we're going to be working with an ancestral initiation to get you into your true role in your ancestral line, because most of the time we see working with ancestors as very like, yes, I'm devoted. Yes, I'm giving love. Yes, I'll work with helping you heal. But you hold a very particular role, you as you incarnate right now. And because you stand in this like crossroads between the living, right? You're living, but you also work beyond the veil. You hold particular energy and particular power that can serve the ancestral line in a very specific and powerful way. We're going to touch in on that. We're going to connect with that and we're going to work with that. It's going to be a very ritual intensive and learning intensive weekend. It's 4 days, 3 nights. Yeah, 4 days, 3 nights. Southern California. We have 2 spots left. There is actually another spot that has opened in a bunk bed shared room. So if you're interested in that, that's not on that page. However, if you email me at info@thewitchesbox.com and you're interested in a shared room, I think that's $13.50. Email me and I can get you into that. But the other 2 rooms are $1,500 each. You get fed beautiful food the entire weekend because we eat well, and I will be supplying all the things that you need because we're going to be creating an ancestral mask. So all the art supplies and all the things that you need to create this, what will end up becoming your central altar piece for your altar, your ancestral altar, all of that I provide for you. So you just need to get yourself there. All of that. That is a third announcement. You really don't have a whole lot of time for this. There's 2 spaces left and then that 1 bunk bed room that I mentioned. So get in on that. The same place that you can find the link to the Healing the Witch's Wound virtual retreat on our menu bar. Right next to it is the link to the live ancestral initiation retreat. Both are going to be powerful. And the ancestral retreat one, again, the group that's coming, I mean, you guys are amazing. Anytime that all of us have gathered together, it's always been a powerful and gorgeous group of people. Our live retreats, this is going to be our second one. The first one was beyond magic because just being in the same space together and being witches and doing magical work was just so healing in so many ways. I'm going to list because it was beautiful. So anyway, come to that if you're feeling called and drawn to this work. I think that's it for my announcements. Let me take a drink because as you can tell, my voice is, I don't know what, and then I'm going to read what's going on in the chat box. Hold on. Hold on. I know that there's been a lot of talk. Hi. Okay, let's see. Who have I not said hello to? I read all that. I think I said hi, but if I repeat your name, then you just get extra highs. Jamie, hi, Mama. Alexis, hello. Lena, hello. I think I said hi to Jennifer. This might be another Jennifer. Claudia, Iris, hello. I'm so glad that you made it. And I know, I wish everyone can attend all of these things because they're so exciting. Okay, Crafting My Life says, Elena, about the retreat, is it also open to men? Yes, it is absolutely also open to men. Both of them. All of them are. In the future, there may be some gatherings that are for women identified humans only, but I will let you know. We're not there yet. And yes, men are allowed. Men are welcome. Come. Okay, Crafting My Life says, I couldn't find any info about it because in case I think about it. So I'm going to say it again just in case someone missed it. But you can find information on both of the retreats when you go to thewitchesbox.com, the landing page, the homepage of the website. We have a little logo at the top, and then underneath there's like a menu, right? A little menu bar. I don't even know which side which one is on, but one is for the Healing the Witch Wound virtual retreat, and the other one is for the Ancestral Initiation live retreat. Both of those buttons will get you to all of the information that you need, and also the registration buttons and all those things. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. My chat jumped. Margaret, hello. If only I didn't just start a new job and can't take PTO yet. I know. That's always the worst. You know what I used to do? I'm a Libra, so I'm kind of shameless this way, but every single time I started a new job, I'd always start the very interview when I got hired. I would always say, oh, but I already have a pre-scheduled situation that I have to be at. I won't be available for work on this and this and this day. I'd always pre-schedule, even if I had nothing to do. I'd always make sure that I would get onto the job and say, these 2 weeks I'm not available. I don't know how I made it through my work life, but there's something about having audacity that can get you far. Okay. Not that I'm suggesting you do that, but it just reminded me that I always took PTO. I always came into a job with, oh, by the way, I have this PTO already. I don't know if you give it to me or not, but I'm not going to be here. Yeah. This is why I actually work for myself and not other people, because I don't really conform well. All right. Lelia says, I would love to go, but I have no money to go. I know, money's tight. Wait. Are you talking, Lelia, about the live retreat? If you are, let me know, and then I will say a little something. Emirates. Hold on. That's not to me. I know flying back to the US can be challenging. Yes, Elizabeth, you can ask about harvesting the honey. Harvesting the honey is a pretty extensive abundance and money course that I put together several years ago. We did 2 cohorts or 2 years worth of that together as a live go together. The group moved through the process together with us getting together live on Zoom frequently. And I was going to release another version of that where you would go at your own pace earlier this year. But then this has been a little bit of an interesting challenge for me. I've had a couple of really intense and juicy downloads around that information and that topic that I started to feel like this really needs to be part of what Harvesting the Honey is. It's like the next evolution of this work. It's deeper. It covers more, and it goes a little bit deeper into the entire world of the slipstream that is abundance and money. And so I've been adding to it. It's not done because I really felt like this work needed to be part of this, and this information that I kept downloading was part of it, and the learning that I was doing needed to be part of it. And so I'm not quite sure yet when it's going to come out. It will absolutely be released again, but it's still evolving into this beautiful, beautiful course that's going to be more extensive and deeper than what we had before, which was already pretty extensive and deep. So it's coming. It will happen because it wants to happen, but it also wanted to be more and give more. So that's where we're at with that. Excuse me. Jennifer says, Jennifer says, would love for you to host a retreat in Canada. I want to host a retreat in Canada because there is a beautiful, I'm not going to say it out loud here because I can't, but I can, but I don't want to create a lot of movement around that. There's a beautiful place in Canada that is perfect for retreats, that I'm dying to go back to. And that's definitely on my radar. Like that would be a beautiful place to have everyone go to. And so we'll see. We'll see. My calendar for next year is not at all set in stone. So I probably won't really dive into those details for myself and for all of us. Probably not until December, which is late, but there are a lot of moving pieces between now and then. Because, you know, we haven't relaunched yet. Because there's that. Oh, Elena, I finally got my oh my God, thank God that you got your boxes and you love the books. Yay. Because really, what is happening with the boxes? I'm so happy that you got them. Oh my God. Hey, Jolmar. Hi. It's good to see you again. Ingrid, hello. PJ Stitches, hello. Misha, hello. I'm so glad that you made it to the live. Esther, hello. I'm so glad you're going to be coming. So excited. One of the best things about all of this for me is that I get to like meet you all face to face when we do these live retreats. It's so exciting. It's so special. Alexis, can I just say how amazing? Oh, thank you. Oh, the most recent I don't even know which one that was because I videoed that months ago. But yeah. Thank you. And it's growing. And also I have to say this because I had a moment just to keep it real. Tree and Emily and I had a meeting last week. So Tree does our graphic design. Emily does the social media and some of the graphic design as well. So we're having like a meeting about things. And we were looking at the stuff that we've had. You know, we have a long, big repository of videos and or reels or TV or IGTVs or whatever they're called, as well as pictures on our Instagram account. We were looking through some of the older stuff and I caught a glimpse of myself with like my hair fully dyed. And I was like, oh, I had a moment. Like, oh, I love the contrast. Should I dye it again? Like I had a little flutter of, oh God, should I go back? I'm not. But know that happens because a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're so amazing. You're so brave that you just, I don't know that I call it brave. Although on days like that, it does feel brave where it's like, oh, I love it when I had all my black hair and it was, you know, it was a thing. Okay. I had a moment. Okay, wait, what are we doing? Let me finish what I've got in front of me now. And then I'm going to go into our Oracle reading because we could just talk forever. Okay. I read that. Yes. The retreat that you're talking about. Okay. I'm going to write your name down because I might send you a note. Tomorrow. Okay, I got your name and be on the lookout for an email. Claudia, I want to do the harvesting the honey so much. I know, I do too. It'll happen. Curls and Pearls, hello, good afternoon. It's my Friday and I just got home to catch the live. I'm so glad. I'm not sure if this is a day, if this day can get any better. Oh, I love it. You know what? Days can always get better. Isn't that amazing? Yes, I know. Harvesting the honey. We're waiting. Jennifer, I would totally help any way I can. Jennifer, what are you talking about? Tell me, maybe you're not even talking to me. Elizabeth says, I'm afraid I will only be doing virtual retreats, but hanging off for harvesting the honey. I know that you're trying to say something else, but holding off, right? That's what you're saying. Okay, cool. Emerence, Elena, if you need a moderator for when Emily or other team Witchery isn't available, I'm happy to help. I would love that, Emerence. Do you mind just posting 2 links? One link to the virtual retreat and one link to the live retreat in the chat? That would be awesome because I'm afraid of doing that myself. Because I have this terror that if I go into another tab, I lose you and I just can't be dealing with that. Oh, you would help with oh, wonderful. Tell me, Jennifer, what side of Canada are you on? Because I would be doing it in British Columbia is where I would do the retreat for sure. Curls and Pearls, my son gets home from his second day of 8th grade soon, so we shall see how the rest of the day goes. Oh, second day. Wow, that's a big deal. 8th grade. That's like the year, right? The preparation year into a massive rite of passage into high school. That's a big deal. I was such a mess of hormones at that age. Holy cow. Okay. All right, you guys, we're here for an Oracle reading. I mean, I don't even know. It's like, oh, you're in BC too. BC is so beautiful. I'm going to be in BC at the end of September for a little retreat that I'm very excited about. All right. we're going to be reading from this deck. I pulled this out because I love it so much and I talk about it all the time. Mystical Shaman Oracle deck. The art is by Colette Baron-Reid. You know I love her, but it's also by, oops, it's not focusing, Marcela, Lobos, and Alberto Villoldo. I can never pronounce that. I love this deck. After I do the reading, I'm going to tell you about my adventures in Oracle cards. But the card that I pulled was this, which is also, everything in this deck is exquisite. Wait, there we go. Flow. So right away, I'm looking at this deck and all the chatter that we've had, although I'm the one who's been chattering this entire time. And I want us all to take a long, deep breath. Just take a minute and take a deep breath while looking at this card. How that changes everything. I love it. This card came up and immediately, again, I work with questions. I think that the soul opens when we ask questions that we don't know the answers to, and then it allows the space for the answers and the downloads to come. So off the top of my head, immediately I saw this card. I wanted to take a deep breath the way I led us to take a deep breath now, and to check in with your body, but also to check in your world. Where is the flow in your life moving effortlessly? Like, what just flows for you? There's ease. There's not a lot of effort. There's not a lot of thinking. Something that flows. It could be money. It could be your relationship. It could be your facility in reading cards. It could be anything. But where is it that you have unfettered, easeful flow, where you have capacity for this unfettered flow of energy? And it can be in any part of your life. It doesn't have to be magical. It can be maybe in the way you cook. It could be a million different things, small things and big things, but it's important to acknowledge, where do you have your most easeful flow? And I'm going to be quiet for a minute as you kind of sit with that and think about it. And then I'm going to give you the second part that we're going to talk about. But it's important to try to identify where you have your most easeful flow. I'm going to drink water. Okay, so thinking about where you have your most easeful flow, really tap into what that feels like. That effortlessness, that ease. You might even take it for granted because it doesn't really require you to effort. Do you know what I'm saying? And tap into what that feels like, so that then you can take that as a litmus test or a foil or a backdrop to the next question, which is, where in your life right now is the flow struggling? What really requires a lot of effort? What is like you're banging your head against the wall and there's just no movement? What feels like a blockage in flow in your life? What requires more effort? Sometimes even pushing. We can catch ourselves pushing up against something a lot, and that's where the flow isn't happening. So identify for yourself. You don't have to go through the long list, because sometimes we have many, many things, and sometimes we just have a big one. Just focus on one. Where is it that your flow is stifled or stagnant or blocked? Yeah, I'm going to be quiet for a second while you... So for me, this kind of personal inquiry really helps to bring me back into check-in, which is, this is where I'm at right now. These are the areas in my life that require maybe more attention, maybe require more nurturing, maybe require a change or a shift in perspective in the way that I approach it. Because when we are having to effort really hard against what feels like constant blockage, something else is needed. Something else is required to create healing or to bridge the gap or to open up the flow. And so this can apply to things like your body, your health. Where in my body are things inflamed? Where in my body are things not flowing the way everything else is? That brings your attention to something that requires something else. Maybe not the pushing, maybe not the forcing, but maybe some other energy in order to help unblock that or create more flow. It's like a diagnostic tool for me in my relationships. Where where do I feel like every time I engage with this particular person or a person, I feel like it's a lot of work. It's more work than it needs to be. I walk away exhausted. That's information. Something is blocking it. Sometimes you just need to disengage completely, or sometimes you have to have a conversation to create movement. It's like plumbing, right? You got to move things out of the way. But it can be a great way to assess where things are really working for you and where things really need attention. So when I get a card like this, to me, it's very much a do some personal assessing. Where is the flow? Where isn't it? And then let that be an informational, like a moment of information where you're like, okay, now I know where I need to put more attention or where I need to shift the way I'm doing things. There is a world where I got this question a while back where someone said, well, if you have a goal and you need to work towards achieving something, sometimes that can feel like it's a blocked flow. And there's a difference. And this is where really refining our ability to tap into these energies is really important. This is why I brought you first through what is flowing, so you can really tap into what that feels like, right? And then you can come over to the other side and you have now a backdrop to compare what flow feels like as opposed to the blockage. When we are working towards a goal, oftentimes it can feel very arduous. It can feel like it's not flowing because I want to get there and I'm not quite there yet. And you can have amazing flow while you're working towards something that requires work. So working at something doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a flow. It's important to start really learning and getting really intimate with that energy underneath things. When I'm learning something, when I'm trying to achieve something, when I'm in the practice of the learning, there's beautiful flow. I'm not at the end goal, which can be frustrating, but frustration not being somewhere isn't a blockage of flow. Does that make sense? I'm saying a lot of words, but this energy of flow can be an incredible way to really assess yourself and assess different parts of your life. So that's the Oracle Wisdom of the week. There you go. I'm going to read what's happening in the chat, and then I'm going to tell you an update about my putting all of my Oracle cards in a bowl, because that was a thing. Let me see. Excuse me. Did you? Hold on. BC. Okay, so Emerins, you're saying I already posted those links, but because I don't have moderator status, I can't post as a real link. I have to separate it. Otherwise, I hate that. What does that? Okay, let me see if I can do that. Hold on, because now I've lost track of my life. I read all that. Okay, I read that. Sorry, I just got completely just, things. Curls and Pearl says that's my first Oracle deck and I love it so much. It's such a beautiful deck. Beautiful, beautiful. I have the other one, but it's another box of animal spirits. Beautiful. So beautiful. Yes, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm going to say Bilge or Bill125. This is a general reading for the community. Okay. Yeah, I don't do personal readings for people. Project Refine Life. Actually, I just recently saw one of your older videos and I think your hair looks even more. Oh, thank you so much. That wasn't me fishing for compliments, but I like it. So I appreciate it. Yeah, but it was a little bit of a moment like, oh, look at her. I remember her. Girls and Pearls says, I feel like it's a little bit everywhere because I'm still in the massive hall of deep cleaning mode. So the energy feels fresh, but yet still not complete because everything isn't finished yet. I think that's a beautiful example of multi-tracking, because this is what becomes really challenging when we start to really refine our skills with picking up energy streams. There are countless energy streams that are flowing in our lives every single moment, not just our own and not just the immediate dynamics of our relationship, but the world, right? And so being able to identify, you've got flow here, but a little bit of something else here, it speaks to your skill, which is beautiful. Okay, I'm going to turn off this light because it's flashing. I'm having issues. Okay. So I love that you shared that. Thank you, Curls and Pearls. Esther says, Elena, do you ever come across other brujas that give input on a spell shared when input wasn't asked for? I find this to happen when sharing on social media. Girl, let's talk about that. I'm thinking of a sensitive way of talking about this because sometimes it can get so annoying. Let me say one thing first. We live in a world where social media has taken the culture by hostage for the worst in a lot of ways. Our social skills are degrading on the daily because of social media and because people feel like it's just a free-for-all. So I'm going to preface it with that. I also will say that if someone is sharing a spell and you have a different way of doing it, you don't necessarily have to tell that person that. Why would you go on someone else's social media account or website to say, well, I do this differently, blah, 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 unless they asked you for the feedback? There's a lot of need to interject. Oh, but I know this. It's a weird line to walk because when we're social, when we're in community the way we are here, we're all sharing our experience. And there's something really important about sharing our experiences with each other. But when the feedback is something along the lines of, you should have done it differently, but I do it this way, as if it's like some sort of competition, it becomes really awkward and unnecessary, and it stunts the flow of the conversation. So here's what I do. When I get input that I'm like, oh, I didn't ask for that, I tend to ignore it, but I have the beautiful luxury of ignoring it because I don't actually read most of what goes on social media. Emily does that for us. And on occasion, when I'm like, okay, I have a moment, I'll like scan through and I'll pick up on what's going on or what she's commented on so that I can either contribute or not. But when I see those, honestly, sometimes I swipe them out and I delete them, or I just gloss right over them and I keep going. Sometimes I do read them. So it just depends on the mood. I don't know that even helps you, but that's kind of how it's helped me to deal with it, because sometimes I'm like, okay. Sometimes it's very critical and I'm like, okay, like it just, what are you going to do? But people feel like their input is always asked for when it's not. I don't know what to do about that other than to say, you guys stop it. There's no reason for it, but also I don't take it as seriously because they're going to do it. And if I got involved in each one of those comments, I wouldn't have time to sleep, eat, do anything really. All right. Hold on a second. I also want to say this because this is actually coming up this weekend in our Healing the Witch Wound retreat. There is this is kind of a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about, actually. There is the silence that we have as witches that is created out of fear and insecurity. Like, I don't want to say anything because I don't feel like I have the proper authority to share this wisdom, or someone may laugh at me or not, blah, blah, blah. And so I stay silent out of an oppressive fear. But then there's also the silence of deep wisdom and discernment. Not everyone needs to know everything that's going on in your brain. Not everyone needs to know that you might be empathic and you sensed 5 different things going on in the room with 5 different people. They didn't ask you to give them a reading. They didn't ask you to share that with them. There is a power in, I know and I see something and I hold that information, not because I'm being secretive, but because I just know it. It doesn't have to be and go anywhere else. Other people may not be ready for it. Other people may not want it. If they didn't ask for it, don't give it. Respect the boundary. You see this a lot too when people want to share issues or problems that they may be going through, but they have the wherewithal to say, I want to share this, but I don't need remedy from you. I don't need advice from you. I just want to share this, which I think is beautiful because people are learning to set boundaries. Because the minute you say, hey man, I stubbed my toe and it's been hurting for 3 days, you get 5 walls of people saying, well, this is what you should do. It's overwhelming. It doesn't really help. It's sometimes super overstimulating. And even though the intention of people is to educate and to be helpful, right? Because the intentions are generally really good, it's not helpful, right? Because it can be super overstimulating and the person didn't ask for it. All right. I can probably say a lot about that. I get a little annoyed. So there's that. Okay, got it. Hi, Reiko. Welcome. Izzy says, it's something that I can actually relate to right now. I feel like I may just be in denial that my facade would be like I am easygoing, but underneath you're not easygoing. I know that one. I have been familiar with that dynamic. I'm getting better at it, where my insides and my outsides match a million times more than it's ever. But there have been times when I'm like, oh, it's all cool. And on the inside, it is a raging storm of like, you know what I'm saying? I know that. I get that. And that is an example, right? You look like you're flowing, but inside it's like the flow is like a tumultuous situation. Totally get it. Jilmar, you and your amazing book recommendations. No, I have not read that book. So let me find you again. Where'd you say? Hour of the Witch by Chris Bojalian. Okay, hold on. Hour of the Witch by Chris. Sorry, I write slow right now. Bojalian. I have not, but I will look it up. You're thinking about reading it. Awesome. Camilla, hello, welcome. That's okay that you're late. Cheryl, I put 3 tarot decks in a bowl and I am really loving it. Oh, good to know. Many decks did not go in. Okay. After I finish reading this little list of comments, I'm going to get into it. Jamal, hello. I'm late, but thankful I made the end of the card pull. I'm so excited to hear about the Oracle Bowl, though. I will tell you. Lilia says, Lelia? Oh, girl, I'm sorry. Almost dying, scared the shit out of me, and I'm still kind of scared to go out because I'm scared I'll get sick again. And that's hard. That's a real fear. And I don't know the situation, and I hope that it works well for you, and know that healing from that kind of trauma takes time. Any book recs that focus on hearth magic, cottage witchery. Yes, but I don't know the name of it. There is hold on. Yes. Oh God. What is the book? Is it Lemon and Rosemary? Someone out there knows what I'm talking about. I can't believe I don't remember the author. I can picture the cover of the book. We had it as a book subscription box about a year or so ago. What is it? Something about lemon and rosemary. Okay, The Scent of Lemon. Yes, thank you, Esther. The Scent of Lemons and Rosemary, beautiful, by Rachel Henderson, is a gorgeous book. There is also a brand new, I think that it's already landed, like it's already been published, but if you go to the Llewellyn website, there is a new book on house magic or house design magic or hearth magic something. It's like a very light colored cover. I don't remember the name, but I was looking through like what's coming soon, and that book is there. So go to the Llewellyn website, hit new releases. They have a link somewhere on that page for new releases, and that book will come up. There is also let me think. I think the book is called House Magic, but it's Haus. We reviewed this book a while ago. It's a smaller book. It's a beautiful book. It's not as detailed as A Scent of Lemon and Rosemary, but also talks about home magic in terms of how you set up your space to make it intentioned and magical everywhere. So those are the 3 that come to mind. And I have not read the new book that's on Llewellyn, but it's a pretty dense book. So there's a lot of, it looks like there's a lot in there. Hold on. Oh gosh. One day I'll figure this out. Okay, I read that. Alexis, okay, I read that already. Esther, yes, I agree. I tend to dismiss and keep going. It's a good reminder not all witches are good with boundaries. I mean, you know, I just keep it going. Also, I have a different lineage. Right. And this is the thing. It's hard. I mean, I do it here. I just did it here a few minutes ago. Lelia said something and I'm like, did she even ask for advice? No, but I felt compelled to say something. We don't know what's going on in people's lives. We don't know where their work is coming from. And so to jump into the conversation without this information requires a lot of assumptions that most of the time are wrong. If someone is taking the time to put something out on social media, receive it or don't. But really be mindful to read the room to see, is this person asking for dialogue? Is this person asking for opinions or examples? If they are and you feel compelled to share that, do that. But if they're not, receive it and let that be enough. Maybe show gratitude, maybe say thank you, maybe whatever, but practice boundaries that way. If you have not been asked for your opinion, maybe don't give it and see what that feels like. And we can also, if we're not sure, say, did you want some feedback? Did you want some examples of different things to do in the situation? And make it a dialogue as opposed to, I'm going to throw something at you, even though you didn't ask for it. That's not healthy, thriving, relational conversation or communication. Yeah. Let's see. My hair's kind of a messy, dirty today. Okay. Okay. So Lexa says, are there certain herbs that are best for an altar used for ancestral work? I'm going to say to you that in general, I tend to try to go for the things that I know my ancestors would have used, depending on what grouping of ancestors I'm working with. If you don't know where your ancestors were from, what land they were from, then I would, because you're adopted or because you just don't have that history, then I would check in with them to see what botanicals do you really love? What would you really like? So for me, it depends and it changes. There is a lot of mint has shown up a lot. Frankincense has come up a lot, even though I really prefer copal, but there's a frankincense pull there. So I would check in and ask. And so a lot of people have issues like they don't want to have genetic testing because they don't want their DNA mapping out there in the world for like all the corporations to use. I'm in, like, my whole world is out and available for the world. There's no privacy in my life, really. Although I do try to keep a lot of boundaries around my personal interactions with people. So I've done a 23andMe. I've done ancestry.com, and I got myself tested so that I can get a clear idea of where my people were predominantly from, and then I can do research that way. So that can also be something to do where if you know a good portion of your people are from a very particular place on the planet, then you have an idea of what they were working with, what they might have loved, what was sacred in that area, because what's growing here for me in Southern California is very different than what was, not totally different, but different enough, let's say in the Iberian Peninsula, where a majority of my ancestral lineage is from based on my DNA. So you can go that route to find out, but it's, I think that it's specific to your lineage and to your line. And then, because we're going to be talking about this at the retreat, when we talk about, we belong to our blood ancestral line, but then let's say you get partnered, or you're married, or you create a family with another person. Their ancestral line then becomes part of yours as well, because now you're in that ancestral line as well. And the same is true for professions or vocations or even spiritual lineages. We are all part of the witchcraft lineage. We are part of all witches all over the world in all of time. We are part of that lineage. That is an ancestral lineage that now we all hold. As an example, I'm also part of another spiritual lineage, and that is my lineage as well. Right? So we have multiple groups of ancestral lineages that we can belong to, and they can be very different in terms of what they ask for, what they might want. I have connection, and I don't work with this lineage very often, but as a witch, you're going to find potentially that what they ask for is going to be very different than what your like blood lineage is going to be asking for. And so it's about relationship, meeting people such as they are, where they're at, to have that communication that makes most sense for that relationship. Okay. Okay, wait, I have to cough. Excuse me. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. It jumped again. No. Sorry, you guys. Give me a second. I read that. Okay, I read that. That's to somebody else. Does anyone? Dana Summers, does anyone have any book recommendations on working with the dead? I'm sure that some people have already said something, but I'm going to give you a quickly. You're going to do some Google searching because I don't know all the names. The Morbid Dead by Tomas Prower. He also did a book on Santa Muerte. There are about 2 or 3 books out there on the Santa Muerte. It's not necessarily about working with the dead, but it kind of is. There's that. What is her first name? Her last name is Belanger, but it looks like it's Ballinger, spelled that way. She did a couple of books on working with the dead. She's amazing. Is it Michelle Bellinger or Belanger? I think it's Michelle. Oh God, it's not Michelle. Hold on. Oh, something about walking the twilight path. I can't see even though I have glasses. But Michelle, no, don't look for Michelle because I'm not clear that that's her first name, but Belanger is her last name. She's got several books on working with the dead. Highly recommend them. And what else is there for working with the dead? Morbid Dead. Yeah, I wouldn't go with Santa Muerte. Erase that recommendation, actually, because Santa Muerte is working with the Santa Muerte. It's not necessarily about working with the dead. Yeah. And if you're talking about working with the dead as an ancestral work, I would go with Daniel Foor, Dr. Daniel Foor, Foor. Ancestral Medicine book is phenomenal. Phenomenal. If you never have another book on working with the ancestors ever, that is the book to have. There you go. I read that. Project Refine Life says the gatekeeping is out of control. And in addition, some of those that share speak as if their way is the only way. I know. That's why, I mean, we try. We don't really do a good job of this yet. I'm hoping to improve how we show up on social media. But I like the approach of just putting out cool information and tidbits out on social media so that you can take it or not take it, depending on what you want. But listening to too many people on social media can be incredibly misleading. There is a lot of gatekeeping. There's a lot of like, you shouldn't do it that way or you're doing it wrong. And it's like, who the hell is anyone to tell anybody that your spiritual expression and your spiritual searching and learning is not right? I don't, there's a lot of, we need to be careful because any one of us can fall into this trap. I can fall into this trap, certainly, of being very spiritually immature about creating parameters for someone else when we have no idea who this person is, what their history is, what they're doing, and how that even relates to anything. Like it's distressing. And this is why I feel like, oh my God, I can't turn the camera around, but there's a squirrel with the pine cone that he has in his mouth is like 5 times his size. Okay. And I just completely had a squirrel moment. The animal Lion Country Safari going on outside this window is very distracting. We need to stop, but I don't know that. Oh, this is what I was saying. Social media really does a lot to contribute to our immaturity and to our social regression. I don't know what that answer is because it's not lost on me that on some level it's hypocritical. I don't spend a lot of time on social media. I can't. It's too noisy. It's too much of an energy suck. You want to talk about protection magic, get off of social media. We open ourselves up to too much that depletes us. And so on my phone, it started with Facebook. Facebook is gone. Pinterest is gone. Twitter is gone. All the other like video things are gone. And Instagram is still the only one. And at some point soon, I feel like we need to get off of Instagram because it's becoming a complete shit show. I don't know how to walk that line because people do get a lot of information off of social media. All that to say that you don't have to listen to anybody that says anything about what you do on social media. I empower you to swipe whatever the swiping is. I think on my phone, it's swipe to the left to just delete it. It's your wall. You can entertain whatever conversation you want and you can get rid of whatever conversation you don't want. It's yours. And be really, really discerning about what you take in and what you don't. We're regressing. We're really regressing with our social skills, and it's distressing, especially when we're on social media talking about spirituality. It can be very, very damaging and misleading. So, like that. Brooke says, I feel there is flow in my relationship with my partner as it is always growing and flowing in different ways. I'm always learning new things. I love that. Beautiful. I know. I feel like I'm really so deeply grateful that me and my partner, we flow really well. And then there are times when it's like, oh, there is no flow here. I don't like you today. Get away from me. And then we grow past that and we, you know what I'm saying? But there's always way more flow than not flow. And it's one of the things that I'm deeply grateful for, because having a really aligned partnership is a beautiful thing. Once it happens, it's like there's a lot there to be mined in terms of spiritual learning and emotional and psychological learning that can be really beautiful. Not easy, but beautiful. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try to read down to, okay, it is Michelle Bellinger. I just saw KO. Hi, KO. But I'm going to not read that yet. I'm going to come back up. You had COVID this time last year. COVID is an ass kicker. Ass kicker. The scent of lemon. Okay, we got that. Camilla says, in my opinion, a good flow also comes from being connected to all that is existing inside and outside. Usually I just stop to listen to life breathing. Yes, beautiful. That's it. That's part of the reason why we spend so much time breathing and checking in with our breath when we do the guided meditations. If you just stop and get present with what's existing right now in and around you, there is so much flow there. It's beautiful. It's why when we talk about harvesting the honey, we're really talking about the energetic slipstream of abundance, which is very much life. It's never ending. It's completely beyond abundant. It's infinite. And when we tap into it, then we really begin to understand, oh, this is the dance. This is the dance of flow. And it's available in every aspect of our lives, and it's available everywhere. And just coming into presence and into your breath can get you to tap into that or to touch into that. And it can be really beautiful. Oh, Jennifer says, Magical Housekeeping by Tess Whitehurst. Yes, I haven't read that book, but I do have heard of it. Emerence says, we are a puzzle in progress and everyone else is trying to help add pieces. And unfortunately, sometimes not all parts are understood. We're too complex and not cookie cutters. No one's, yeah, exactly. Yes. Thank you, Crafting My Life. Walking the Twilight Path. Thank you. And do I have to wear black? Oh, it's funny. I don't know that. Do I have to wear black? Excuse me. Well, yeah. Thank you all. I'm glad I'm still here too. I guess it helps having a death goddess as my matron goddess. I pray to Hel, Freya, and Eir the whole time I was in the hospital, and I still do. Beautiful. We did a box with Eir a long time ago. It was the healing box, right? Or kitchen health box or something. Oh, I love that. Cheryl, I saw lineage like rivers merging. Yes, beautiful. Carla, hello. Walking the Twilight Path, a Gothic Book of the Dead. Perfect. Thank you. Wait, I skipped again. Project Refine Life says, for lineage, I use copal, rosemary, and mints for ancestral work. Another mint, yeah. Iron Dogger says, thank you for these moments with your insight and perspective. I get so lost trying to find a pathway. It can be challenging. There's a lot, especially right now. You know, it's interesting. It's either we don't have enough resources or we have way too many. There is a lot. We are in a place where we have access to so much about these different spiritual paths, and it's a wonderful thing, but it can also be overwhelming, right? Like, where do I go? What do I do? And then you have social media that amplifies all of those things that we have. Wait, hold on. UPS is here. That amplifies all these things. So it can be really confusing for sure. Moment, squirrel. Oops. Yeah, I know. It's like, there's a squirrel. Okay. Like literally there was a squirrel. What ancestor book did you suggest? Carla, it is Ancestral Medicine by Dr. Daniel Foor. It's Foor. It is an amazing book. Oh, you're pulling from the deck. Okay, so I have Flow 20, and I just pulled Lightning 30 and Time Master 57 and the Witness 64 for the 4-card reading in the guidebook. I mean, It is such a gorgeous deck. I highly recommend this deck for everybody. Yeah, social media emerence is definitely the new emotional vampire. Or we all have turned into emotional vampires through the use of social media. There's that. Angela, you missed a lot, but we're still going, so it's all good. Yes, and Alexis just posted the title of the Daniel 4 book. Yes. Badass Ancestors. Oh, and Badass Ancestors is also good. Yes. Esther, I just stepped out. Oh God, I can't even talk. I just stepped outside to weed my garden as I listen, and it feels glorious. Look for moments of joy. Nature is medicine, and so is. Crafting My Life says you can find an invitation to sign a petition to prevent the British Museum from locking up a beautiful Roman statue of the goddess Hecate in the basement. Oh, where it had, I didn't know about this. What? Why would they lock it up? British Museum. I'm going to write this down. Okay, I will look that up. Thank you for letting us know about that. All right, let's transition to the thing. Last Tuesday, I talked about this. I'm going to give you, for those of you who weren't here last Tuesday, a little bit of the background, and then I'm going to tell you my experience. We have an author that we love here at the Witch's Box. Her name is Tiffany Lasik, and she's written The Great Work and The Noble Art. Both are phenomenal books that I highly recommend for every single witch everywhere. And even if you're not a witch, I recommend it. And one of the things that she shared with us when she was here on one of our lives, like gatherings, okay, I got to fluff because I feel like I'm getting kind of yucky. She shared that she has a large, I mean, I don't even know how big the bowl is. This is me imagining in my Libra fantasies, right, of what other people do. Like a large bowl where she took every single one of her oracle decks and she dumped them into the bowl. They're all mixed up, and now they kind of live somewhere where she just does a daily pull from this big mixture of all her oracle cards and all of her oracle decks. And I thought, oh my God, that sounds so cool. And I have been, and keep in mind that the first time she showed up and she participated in one of our lives for the book, The Witch's Book Coven, probably was 2 years ago. And then she did it again a year later. So we're probably a good year out from the last time she joined us. I had been thinking about this for that long because I'm like, I have this beautiful wooden bowl that I love, that I use for a bunch of different things. Wouldn't it be cool to just I have so many decks to do the thing. All right. So this is what happened. I talked about this last week. I asked your opinion on like, what do you think? A lot of you had great suggestions about like maybe do a little bit, maybe, something. In any case, I took my time. I gathered all of my decks, which was, again, very humbling because I have too many. And I just ordered a couple more. Anyway, and I went through and I weeded out all the tarot. I'm not going to use any tarots for this. I put those aside, and then I had all of my oracle decks, and I just picked, I don't know if I picked I think I picked 7, which again is a lot. But I picked 7 that kind of made sense. I have quite a lot of different goddess oracle cards, and I thought, well, maybe only 2 goddess oracle cards because a lot of them have repeat and, all the things. I sat down in the middle of my floor. I had a candle, I had incense, I had my witchy music, and I thought, I'm going to, I had a little tripod for my phone. I'm like, I'm going to make like a little reel or whatever on Instagram so people can watch the process. And then I did it. I took them out of the cards, or out of the boxes, and I started to spread them out. I put them in the bowl. I kind of shuffled so they were all mixed up, and immediately was like, hell no, I can't do this. So immediately it was like, no, my entire body recoiled at the thought, like I can't do it. So then I had to go through the process of going through every single deck and putting them all back together and then putting them back in their boxes. I can't do it. I think it's a Virgo moon thing. It was like, this does not, I cannot do it. However, what I do love, and I used to do, I have one here, and I did it when I had my own home in Hawaii. Like, we're living at a family cabin now where we're here in Idyllwild. And so there isn't a lot of room for me to kind of like explode my stuff everywhere. But I do love having, and we did this sort of when we did our live retreat several months ago. I like having beautiful bowls with just one deck and like a beautiful crystal and like little pockets around the home. Like if you ever wanted to do a little pull in a different space, you have that as a beautiful little offering. Yeah. So a deck in a bowl with a beautiful crystal or something, and maybe the book underneath the bowl, That I'm down with. But the mixing up of all of those decks, I mean, my entire being was like, I mean, literally, I was so in the vibe. Like, this is a little ritual, and I had all my things going. And the minute I looked at that bowl with the disaster of cards, I can't do it. I can't. So much so that I deleted the reels. I'm like, forget it. No, we're not. No, it's never going to happen. So that's my report. I'm not doing it. So for me, it is not for me. So that is the update on that. Let me read what you guys have to say. And then again, this is the Q&A portion of it. So if you have questions about witchcraft, ask the way. But yes, in terms of this process for myself, it is not for me. It might be for you because it sounds beautiful. It sounds like such a great thing to do. No, I can't do it. So if you're one of those people who are into it, I'd love to hear your process. But yeah, it's not going to happen. Let me look to see what's happening here. Okay, I read that. You're welcome, Angela. Yes, crafting my life is laughing. It was I don't want to be super hyperbolic, but it was a little traumatizing, not gonna lie. It's a little traumatizing. I'm like, no, can't do it. Emerin says, can never have too many Oracle or Tarot decks, never. Just like you can never have too many books. Well, here's the problem. The book thing I can't even talk about because I will forever have books all over the world forever and ever. But the problem with having so many Tarot decks and so many Oracle decks is that I do feel like there are times when I forget that I have a thing, and I feel bad that I forget that I have a thing because I love them so much. But also, if I can't interact with all of them, is it too much? Do you know what I'm saying? Books are different because I feel like once I've read a book and I keep it, like, I mean, obviously this isn't even all of my books, but okay. There is something about, I feel books are entities unto themselves. And I've talked about this on YouTube here before, where when I'm really working with downloading the full information of a book that I've just read, I will keep it on my altar because it's something that I'm still having interactions with even long after I've read them. So it's a different relationship. But with Oracle decks and Tarot decks, it's like, how many can a person have? Obviously, the number is endless. And I forget that I have things like, so Gavon, who is one of our amazing community members, posted something on his Instagram. I think it was a story where he displayed the card holder that we sent out with this month's box, but with a beautiful card from a deck. And immediately I was like, oh my God, where is this card from? What is the deck? It is beautiful. I don't recognize the card. The card was stunning. And then he sends me back the name of the deck. And I'm like, I actually have this deck. And I didn't even remember that I had the deck. Like, that's a problem. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm having a problem with that. I don't want to say that it's a problem for you. I'm having a problem. So that is where my conflict comes from, where it's like, I either need to put them out in a place where I can see them all the time. Like I have the books, which I don't. They're in little boxes tucked away. Or I need to come up with a different way to just be okay with the fact that I've collected things that I don't even remember I have. I don't know. I'm working on it. Okay. Let's see. Yes, I know. A lot of laughing emojis. It was comedy, I gotta say. It was a travesty and comedy all at once. Rachel says, as a Virgo sun rising, I was already like, oh no, that is definitely not happening. Yeah, no, can't do it. Yeah, my Virgo moon, because of my Libra sun was like, oh, beautiful. It'd be so romantical to have all the cards. And I was like, no, we're not going there. It is a lovely idea, Iron, but not for me. I still have the tarot deck that I won from you. Oh, wonderful. I shuffle it while working. It helps me think. Beautiful. Yeah, I know. It's an OCD tendency. I know. I can't do it. I deleted the reel. I deleted all the evidence. I didn't even want to look at it again because it was so distressing. I couldn't even look at it. Oh my God. I'm a little over the top. I'll own it. I can own that. Jennifer says, for the bowl of cards, you don't know unless you try. You tried, and that was, yeah, exactly. I tried it. Now I know. I never have to revisit that decision again. It's done. Raffle the decks. I know. Well, Esther, I did that a long time ago. We did like a live, which ended up being 3 hours. I don't even know how we lasted that long, where I went through all of my, it was like a show and tell happy hour. Let's get together live on YouTube. And I'll show you all my cards. And so from there, I gave away like 10 or something, which, and since then I have collected more decks. So I've been toying with the idea, like I should do this again. And maybe we will. It'd be kind of a fun thing to do, like before fall hits, like in September. We should maybe do one. I'll talk to Emily to see if we can put something together, and then I can give away more because, yeah, it was fun to give them away, and I love that some of you have those decks. It's great, and a lot of them aren't totally really used. Like I won't give away the ones that I use a lot. But a lot of them are like, oh, beautiful. I sifted through them and then I just never use them again. So they're clear. You can clear them and it's not all me all over your cards. Hold on. Where am I at? Oh, no. Wait, hold on. What's happening here? Hold on. I just don't want to skip you all, but I know that I'm skipping people because I read that. Renee says, Elena, right there with you, sister. I can't combine them either. Layla says, well, now you have tried. Right. I don't need to do it again. Elizabeth, perhaps there is an opening in the Oracle market for bowl cards. Oh, interesting. I mean, I don't know. You can put any of your decks in a bowl, right? Like, I don't have them here. There are 2 decks that I have. These are old school decks by Susan Sedon. I can never say her middle name. Boulay. Some of you older witches will know who I'm talking about. The artwork is exquisite. She probably did more than the 2 decks that I have. Her artwork is exquisite. She is, I think, long past now. And these are like 90s cards, right? And I have 2, and one of them is a goddess one and one is an animal spirit one, and they're smaller. And those are perfect for a bowl. They're beautiful artwork to have out on your coffee table in a bowl. I have beautiful wooden bowls. I have all sorts of different bowls that I've collected over time, that just a deck and a bowl on your coffee table is a beautiful, like, sacred anchor piece that when people come by to visit, they can participate in the cards as well. That works for me. I don't have to necessarily have them in their box. It's just the mixing of types that was way over the line for me. You guys are funny. Project Friendly says, wow, the OCD in me would make me crazy if all of my decks were in one. I know, it was just not acceptable. It sounds like something I would do being a Sagittarius, but also being a Sagittarius, it would drive me even more insane than I already am with the cards being mixed up. I know. And look, I mean, maybe there are parts of, I don't think I'm diagnosed as OCD. I've never sought to be diagnosed. And I don't know that my tendency leaning towards OCD is actually diagnosable, but there are parts of me where I'm like, it has to be exactly the way it has to be. And I don't care what anyone says, it has to be the way it has to be. I'm not necessarily interested in getting rid of that. So I don't need to get diagnosed because I like it about myself, right? But obviously there are moments in which it gets to the point where it interferes with your life, and then yes, get help. But I'm okay with the fact that it freaked me out and I can't do it. Cheryl says, my bowl is a beautiful glass top. Oh my God, glass top hat that is very big. I put it in the Halloween Alice in Wonderland and Rock Art Tarot. The symbols are different, much fun. Oh, beautiful. That sounds gorgeous. Jennifer says, if you're asking for suggestions, then devote one bookshelf. Oh yeah, for your tarot. I could do that. I mean, I don't know how space for them right now. I could do that. And also, I have a 3-tiered altar, and maybe the bottom shelf can be all of my decks. That might be a good idea. I can play with that, and then I'll let you know if it actually works or not. Emran says, I'm working on my way to store my decks so I can have better access as well. Yeah, I need to be able to see at least some of them, right? I have the one that I have my tarot deck that I work with all the time, and I don't have an issue with that. That's in a very particular box in a very particular place. I know exactly where that is. Which, by the way, I can't give it to you now because it's on my Safari window, not my Facebook. You've all asked me this countless times. In fact, I'm not going to tell you now. Maybe I'll wait and talk about this. I'm going to write myself a note. I'm going to talk about this when we do like a card show and tell. That'd be fun. Okay, got it. Sorry, didn't mean to. It was an unintentional tease. I read that. Camilla says, out of the blue, how do you find spiritual religious festivities to celebrate that resonate with you? I want to celebrate things, but I find it hard to find the right celebration example, like Christmas or whatever. So Camilla, I don't know if you were, I think you were here already for that talk where the book, is it this book or is it the other book? I think at the end of The Scent of Lemon and Rosemary by Rachel Henderson, she talks about this in a way that I haven't heard other people talk about, and I really love that she mentioned it in the book, which is only celebrate the thing that you really just naturally want to celebrate. So there's a lot of talk in the witchcraft community that we've got 8 different Sabbats, the wheel of the year, right? We've got Samhain, we've got the equinoxes, we've got the solstices, we've got Brigid, we've got Lammas, we've got, what else do we have? Beltane. And it's easy to feel pressure, like if I'm a good witch, I should be celebrating all these things. And no, you celebrate whatever it is that you're naturally inclined to celebrate, especially if we're talking about the Sabbats. If you live in an environment where those Sabbats are not naturally expressed, right? In Southern California, we really only have 2 seasons here. Then it doesn't necessarily make sense to always to celebrate like fall, let's say, or although Samhain is a whole other thing, or winter. So I love that she gave permission to celebrate what you love. Now, my husband and I don't naturally celebrate Christmas. We don't believe in that cosmology. It's not who we are, but our families do. And so we get together with family when we celebrate Christmas because they do, and we also love them, and we want to be with our family, and we love celebrating with them, right? So if we were on our own, some years we haven't been with family, we wouldn't necessarily celebrate it. But when we're with them, we celebrate with them. And it becomes about something else. We don't necessarily need to be attached to the meaning behind it, but we're attached to the people that we're celebrating with. I would just say, what is it that brings you joy? What feels like an authentic celebration to you? What is it that you might really like? Oh, I'm really looking forward to this. Like, those are the clues, right? That you start to find within yourself that say, these are the things that are meaningful to you, that hold meaning. And where there's meaning, then you can actually like anchor into that in a way that's celebratory and full of gratitude. And maybe it's full of family. Like, I've always loved Thanksgiving, which is a secular holiday, but there's something about gathering around the dinner table that is meaningful to me. And in the past, I haven't done this recently because of our people and how everyone in our lives is like spread out everywhere. But it used to be that like I would celebrate fall equinox as a witch's Thanksgiving, right? It's a harvest festival. Let's get together and eat good food and be together. It doesn't even have to be a big ritual. So it's about you, and it's about what's meaningful to you. And if you have a family with little ones, what is it that's meaningful to you that you want to pass down? It doesn't have to be, it could be Kwanzaa, it could be Hanukkah, or it could be the solstice. So be led by what you're feeling pulled by, and then start there. Okay, which is a great question. Thank you for asking that. I love the idea of having single... I don't understand what I do. I'm reading a sentence, I do something weird, and the whole thing skips. So who was I reading? I love. It started with I love. Here we go. It's iron. I love the idea of having single decks in bowls around the house, right? Isn't that lovely? And they become almost like super simple little altars, right? To checking in, to spiritual work. I love it. And if you are kind of straddling the fence between like, I'm a witch, but my family isn't, you know, and there's some strangeness around that, you can do it with cards that are accessible for other people, like encouraging affirmations, or even oracle cards that just have the one word as opposed to the tarot deck. That can be kind of a bridge, which is lovely. Excuse me. I was really happy. I was watching YouTube kind of down a rabbit hole, and I mean, I love her in every direction. She's amazing. I think that she's a witch, even though she's never really said that. But Selma Hayek was doing a French Vogue interview, but she was speaking in Spanish, which I loved. And in her bag, it was like, what do you have in your bag kind of moment. And in her bag, she actually moves around the world with an oracle deck in her purse that she takes out and, you know, shares with people wherever she is. So cool. Read that. I'm glad that you caught the live too, Cindy. The YouTube I know that YouTube get-together is where you won the deck. Yeah. I'm iffy about going. Okay, Angela says, I'm iffy about going to an astrologer because if I'm really a Gemini moon, it's like being a Libra, which stresses me out. As a Libra, I'm going to say to you that no, a Gemini is not like being a Libra at all. Yes, we're both air signs, but there are some marked differences between those two things. Because if I'm really a Gemini, so you don't know what you are. I mean, go. And then if you have a really good astrologer, they can help you suss out what the differences between those two things are for you, but also it's not just the Gemini moon, right? It's where it's aspected. There's so much. It's a really, I think, enriching experience to have a really good natal chart read. I encourage you. But also, no, a Libra and a Gemini are very different. And no shade to Geminis. I love me a lot of Geminis in the world, but no, we're different. Just like an Aquarius and a Libra and a Gemini. Like those three air signs are, I mean, I'm an air sign. I've done like a lot of, I know, and I've attracted a ton of air signs to my life. We're different. Okay. Love it. Okay. What I mean is it's hard for me to balance my life without the resources I need. Oh, interesting. That's a big one. So I'm going to read that again. Angela says, what I mean is it's hard for me to balance my life without the resources I need. I understand that. That I understand. That's a hard one. I don't even know that I can answer. I can't even add to that because I'm in that in the moment. And it brings up a lot of emotion for me. So I gotcha. Okay. Amarin says, Elena, we're both just a bit extra and a little over the top. That's how we relate and speak similar tendencies. I mean, what is life if not a little over the top? You know what I'm saying? Tell me, Emerence, what your astrological, your three signs are if you know them. Layla, I saw a tarot deck I wanted to buy. But I asked my tarot deck what would it think and feel if I got another. It said that then our relationship would become superficial, so I haven't gotten. Damn, I love that this is a tarot deck that you have that's like, I'm going to just tell it to you like it is. I love that. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm so over this throat thing. I can't even tell you. Angela says, decks and mini altars iron, awesome and inspiring magic goals. # magical goals. Yeah. It's an easy, beautiful way to add some sacredness to your space. It's gorgeous. And it puts those many thousands of Oracle decks and tarot decks that you own to good use. Curls and Pearl says, a friend of mine was having a hard time waiting for test results after I was on the phone with her. I just had that feeling and I just knew what decks wanted to be with her. Beautiful. This is the other thing. I've spoken about this in different places before. I'm sure that I've talked about it here in our lives. I'm an animistic witch, right? And I really believe that each of these decks are their own entities. And because I'm going to go a little off the beaten path and then come back. I'm not going to dive too deep into this, but as let's say, boom, this deck. The creators of this deck, this is how I view pretty much everything in the world, but it's a little different when you talk about decks because they're countless copies of each of these decks out in the world, right? But these particularly three creators created this entity. This has got a particular feel, a particular voice, a particular way of moving the energy, a particular way of communicating with each of its owners in a very specific way. I see this as its own entity. And because they're multiplied over and over and over again, and we each get one if we want to, what I have here is an entity on its own, but together, because now we're in relationship with each other, the way we communicate is very specific to just us. The particular message that it carries within its bigger entity identity gets highlighted for me a little bit more than maybe yours would for you, because we are in relationship together, right? And so to have a relationship where the deck actually speaks to you, I think is beautiful. It's totally up my animistic witchcraft, because they become entities. And so this is also why it becomes difficult for me to have so many where I'm not engaging in active present relationship with each, because I mean, I literally can't. There's so many, and I've got a bunch of other things going on at the same time. So that's part of like my internal dialogue around like, I love the artwork, but these are also sacred entities that I am almost compelled to be in a relationship with. It's not okay to just have someone hanging out at your house and you're not even interacting with. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, okay. Okay, I read all that. One of my oldest decks is the Cat People deck. Oh, I don't have that one, but I've seen it. It's beautiful. Brenda, I'm sorry, kind of off topic, but that's okay. But which do you like better? Your cards stored in their box or in a bag? Box. If they're going to be stored in something, I prefer the box to a bag, for sure. Elspeth says, Elspeth disappeared. Where's Elspeth? Yeah. Today I was admiring a wooden shed that housed a takeaway cafe. How cool. I was admiring how the screws were in a vertical line. Think my cards will stay in their boxes. That was awesome. Thank you. Yeah, you feel it. Right. Emeren's made this distinction and she's right. There's actually an OCD tendency, which is way different from having OCD, period. Yes, absolutely. Reiko, have you ever got a hit that you aren't supposed to do a certain type of divination? I was thinking about pendulum work and now I can't find the boards and 2 of the 3 pendulums I have, thinking no now. I mean, did you get the hit or you just can't find it and you're interpreting the fact that you can't find it as the hit? There's that. But to answer your question specifically and directly, no, I've never gotten the hit that I'm not supposed to use a particular type of divination type. However, there could be circumstances where certain types of divination are much more trance-induced or trance-inducing than perhaps, say, using an oracle card or even a pendulum. And that might have mental health ramifications depending on where you are in your process. And so it could also be that your internal instinct barometer is like, not now. It's not okay right now. And then, I mean, I'm not saying that that's your story, but that's a situation in which I can see where that would happen, where some part of your higher self is like, this isn't the place to be right now because you're just not in a place for it right now. So there's that. Renee says, we all should watch one of those organization shows to help us figure out how to store all of our cards. You know, oh my God, I don't even know how many. I've seen this in passing on YouTube and don't come for me and don't leave me. Judge me gently. But I have been known to watch the Kardashians on occasion. And one of the sisters is like super hyper organized, and her pantry's like something out of a museum. It's very sexy. It turns me on in all the ways. But they've hired people to come in and organize her home. Wouldn't it be cool to create an entrepreneurial job for yourself where you do that type of organizing for witches? For their herbs, for their like all their bottles, for all their books and all their cards. I'm not going to do that because I've already got my lane, but that would be an awesome business to create and develop. I love that. Okay. Have you ever got, no, I read that already. Bye, Renee. Thank you for hanging out with us. I know we've been going on for a little while. We're going to end in about 10 minutes. We all should watch one of those. Okay. Well, I read that. Oh, I've heard about this, Curls and Pearls. My new one is The Last Unicorn to Row from the movie. It's beautiful. I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. I love her pet owl. Yes, her pet owl. She's so cool. Her owl is gorgeous. Although, as much as I would love to have a pet owl because I'm an owl girl, the whole coughing up, I can't even talk about it. KO says the Archetypes Oracle has been a bridge to introduce people into what I do. Beautiful. The Archetypes Oracle has, that's twice. Is it Archeo? Which archetype tarot? Oh no, Archeo is not a tarot deck. Never mind. Which archetype oracle are you talking about? Because yes, it's not tarot, it's an oracle deck. Because I'm curious. I have the RKO one. I love it. Also, the other person who's got an archetype oracle deck is Kimberly Kranz. That's also a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Beautiful. Very powerful. Angela says, okay, astrology is still pretty interesting and relatively new to me. I know Libras are not like Geminis. That was just my stuff coming up, girl. Don't worry. My two cousins are totally not the same in their life choices, but a ton of fun together. We can be a hot mess. Air signs can be challenging. Let's just put that out there. Emran says, I'm an Aquarius. My daughter is Libra and my son is a Gemini. All the air. That's a lot of air. Air is not easy. When they were kids, it was nuts. Gemini is not like a Libra, and that's why I understand you so much, Elena. Let's see. Project Refined Life says, a fun way to introduce the tarot to family and friends is to have the zombie tarot on the coffee table during Halloween time. Oh, that's a great idea. Cheryl says, I'm an Aries with a Libra moon and a Cancer rising. That's a good combo. That's a great combo. And the Libra Aries, I don't want to sit there in opposition, but that link is a good link. It's a good link. It can be challenging, but it's a good link. I live that link every day of my life. Emerance Aquarius, not sure what is the extra parts. I tried to figure it out. Oh, the extra parts. Okay, so typically this is just going to be a really quick astrology thing. Most of us all know what our sun sign is, right? It's when your birthday is, that's your sun sign. So my sun sign is a Libra, but that's just a tiny sliver of you as a map when you were born, because there's a lot that's going on when you were born. Every planet was in a house or somewhere, different things were ruled. And so that is like the more complete snapshot of who you are. So to say that I'm all Libra, obviously I'm not, because my Virgo moon has a lot of expression in me. And sometimes that's different. Sometimes my Libra seems to be much more expressive as opposed to my Virgo moon. But we look at when it's like, when you go a little step deeper beyond your sun sign, well, people will ask you like, what's your sun sign, what's your moon sign, and what's your rising? And that gives a little bit more of a picture of what the combo is of what you are. So the sun sign is kind of like the identity of you in the world. The moon sign is like your emotional motivation or your emotional drives, like more of your emotional life. It's the moon, right? And the things that motivate and drive you from within. And then your rising is what people think you are or how people project seeing you. So the outside view of you on the inside. So those things combine into making a pretty unique personality. But then you've got all the other things. Where's your Mars? Where's your Jupiter? That also obviously combines to create the perfection and uniqueness that is you. So when I ask like, what are you and all the things, like it's usually those three, like the moon, the sun, and the rising. Excuse me. Something is tickling me. Okay, that's... Yes, Jennifer says yes to witches, organizers of all the stuff. Wouldn't that be a great job? And Angela says, oh my God, that would be amazing. I've thought about it too, Elena. Or a witch-themed bar or cafe that Sacred Moon Samantha is planning to establish. I'm going to be embarrassed that I don't know who this is. Sacred. This is what happens when you try to stay off of social media because you can't handle it. You just miss all the cool stuff. Moon. I'm going to look that up because I don't know who this is. Samantha. But yeah. Yes, we need more spaces like that. What are some of the great books on paganism? I'm thinking. I'm going to have to come back next week because I'm seeing book covers, old book covers, but I'm not remembering names, pagan books. So maybe we can talk about that next Tuesday. So I'll have to do some research. But if anyone else has any answers to that, please answer, Alexis. KO says, I just watched Tarot Map and she stores her cards in IKEA CD bookcases. Oh, that's smart. That is a super great idea. Thank you for that. Lilia says, I actually don't use tarot for divination. I just have visions and gut feelings hit me. I have had prophetic dreams and been an empath all my life. I mean, it's the shortcut. You know what I mean? I love that. The Wild Unknown archetypes by Kim Krans. Yes. Esther's an Aries. I do well with Aries, but then I love you. See how that goes? Curls and Pearls. Okay, we need a day on astrology. I mean, we do. We always need a day on astrology. Esther says, my sons are Virgo and Libra, the triple fire Aries. I'm triple fire, Aries, Leo rising, and Sagittarius moon. Oh my God, girl. You are like a firecracker. I love it. Emerence, my hubster is a Libra, so I really do understand you and your ways. Eventually, I'll figure out how to do astrology birth charts, but the math. Hold on. There is a website. It's actually, I think that they've actually updated it for the first time in over, I have been on this website since I think the beginning of the internet. Astro.com. It's still a hot, messy website, but there is I think it's probably the most comprehensive website in the world, but it doesn't fully tell you how to work it out. There is a place for you to map, to like put in your information, and it will bring up several different natal charts, but one of them is interactive, so that when you, I don't know, why would I even have a natal chart in front of me? But I'm sure that most of you have seen a natal chart, right? You've got the circle and you've got different houses, different planets, and the lines between each one to denote different aspects and different relationships. One of the charts that it provides you is an active live chart, where if you click on each of those things, it'll tell you what it means. So you can click on a line between, let's say, like for me, I have, it's probably telling you more than you need to know about me, but I have my Saturn and my Jupiter are in opposition to each other. You click on that line between the two and it'll tell you not only what an opposition means, but it'll tell you what those two in opposition to each other actually mean. It's a really robust website, but it is not intuitive. So you would have to tinker around a lot to get to, because even now I have been working with this website for decades, literally. Finding that particular one is still difficult for me, but it can be super informative about what sign is in each of your houses, like what all of this is for you. You can get a lot of information, but it's also a great learning tool to understand those relationships. So there's that little nugget of resource. But also for you, Emerans, it's a great place to learn, because it'll also have a bunch of different blog posts about what all of that means and what all of that is and how to really interpret the chart. And it doesn't require you to have math, because it's doing the math for you. Boom, right there. Because it also will do transits and progress charts. It'll do all sorts of things for you. Hey, Marie, how are you? Marie says, I met a clairvoyant earlier this week and had a quiet, revealing conversation. Oh, I love that it's a quiet one. She has told me that I have a very strong energy, like a shamanic energy, beautiful, and I have many deities calling for me. Oh, yeah, that's a lot. I love that you have that, though. That's wonderful. Iron says, I would love to have a witchy organizer in my life, especially since the leukemia and being between two states is, it would be a blessing, I'm sure, because having to manage two different homes can be a lot. Another Aries, we have a lot of yummy Aries this year. I have an affinity for Aries because the love of my life is an Aries, and it's just very sexy. Emerance, Iron. Okay, we're talking to each other. Another Aries and a Libra moon and an Aquarius sun. I love it. Layla says, you want to talk about a fun family? Try being the third in the fire signs in my family. My dad is a Leo. He turned 72 yesterday. Happy birthday, Dad. My little is an Aries and I'm a Sag. Mom was a Cancer. Older sister was a Gemini. That's a lot of movement. A lot of movement. Marie says, the clairvoyant has revived my journey to spirituality as I fell off the wagon a while ago. See my comment above. But wait, did you only have the one comment? I've got two of your comments. I don't know that I want to miss any others. Let's see. No, but I love that you found someone and that you had that connection, that revitalization, because we need that. That happens often. Like, we go through cycles. Emerin says, what is the astrology website? Astro.com. So ASTRO.com. All right. We've been on for a long time, an hour and a half. Goodness gracious. Thank you for hanging out with me, and thank you for indulging my my update on my Oracle card adventure. We'll be back next Tuesday for another live. Again, please remember that tomorrow is the deadline to register for the Healing the Witch Wound virtual retreat that's happening this Saturday and Sunday. Be there. It's going to be amazing. And then we also have the live retreat happening in September in Southern California. There are, as of, at least I haven't looked at my phone to know if anyone's registered, but we have 2. That's what it was. This is important. We have 2 single private rooms left. And then we have one that opened up that's a bunk bed room that is a shared room. And that's a lower price. So the private rooms are $1,500. You get fed, the whole thing. I'm providing all of the ritual things for you. And then the other bunk room is, I think, $1,350. That is not listed on the website right now. If that's something that you're interested in and you're okay with sharing a room, email me at info@thewitchesbox.com and I can get you in. That's happening in the middle of September. On the 16th of September, it's going to be super powerful. So this is the other thing. Only go if you're really called to go, and only register to go if working deeply with ancestors is something that's really calling to you. Yeah. So that's it. Yes, I can give you how much of a spoiler do you want? I've got a big spoiler and a small spoiler. I'm going to give you a super teasy hint because I'm that girl. I just, before I started doing this live, did the deep dive recording for that box. This was one of my props for the class. Boom. And this is not in the box, but it is about the box. It's me having an example of what to do with what's in the box. So there you go. Boom. And that's all you're going to get. But I will say again, for those of you who join in later, I'm going to cry just saying this out of joy. This is the first box in over 1.5 years that's going to go out on time. I don't even understand how this has happened. I'm so excited. I can't even tell you. So there's that. I got you a spoiler. No, I love that you have the deck and that you're loving it too. It's wonderful. I love that you know that there's a part of me out there with all of you. It's great. I think that's it. All right, my loves. So next Tuesday, we're doing this again, but this Friday, we're doing a live guided meditation on Friday at 10 o'clock Pacific time on YouTube here. And that's it. I think that's it. Love to all of you. Well, it's not sigils. I work with sigils, but yeah, don't read into it. This was just an example that I was sharing with all of you of what you can do with what's in the box and what the box is about. There's also a book, a big, beautiful, gorgeous book in the box. I think that's it. All right. Big love to all of you. Have a wonderful week. And we will talk on all the places, and I'll see you soon. Mwah. Bye. And I have to pee.